Okay guys, welcome to another video. In today's video, we're going to take a look at a shovel. And this shovel, the main reason I bought it is I wanted a compact e-tool, and this one happened to be made by GIock. And I'm a fan of GIock pistols, and I thought this was kind of a cool design. So we're going to test it out today. Part of the reason I'm testing it out now is the past couple of weeks, the temperature dropped quite a bit, and I don't really like digging in frozen ground, and I don't think the ground is frozen just yet, so I thought this would be a perfect opportunity. So I'll go over some of the quick specs, we'll dig a little bit, I'll show you a couple other of the uses, and then we'll wrap the video up. So the first thing I like about it is the weight. A traditional e-tool weighs, I think, 2.5 to 3 pounds. This one weighs 24 ounces or 1.5 pounds, and I think that's including the pouch. Either way, it's really light. Now the other thing is the compact form factor, and the big thing, which I'm kind of realizing today, is the handle being made out of polymer instead of metal. It won't cool your hands as quickly if you're using it in, it's about 20 degrees, 15 to 20 degrees today. So in cold weather, if you're not wearing gloves, the plastic or polymer handle really helps. I believe the polymer they use for this is the same as they use for the GIock frame pistols. So it has an extendable handle. Now the first thing I don't love about it is I wish they would have some markings, because some of these things you go clockwise, some counterclockwise, so it gets confusing. So I'll probably use some white paint and paint an arrow saying tighten and loosen. But that time I randomly was able to turn it the correct way. So the next thing I like about it is the adjustment, right? So this right here, you have a hoe, so I'll use this really quick. Okay, so as you saw, on an e-tool, that's why this is probably the most useful position, because you're going to be using this while kneeling and you can dig really quickly. The next adjustment is one unique to this one, and then I have a surplus Austrian military shovel that also does this, but the traditional e-tool can't do this angle. Now the benefit of this is when you have this angle, this is called lift. So in prying, it'll be easier to explain once I straighten it out, but you're not really, as you can see, digging like this, it just feels awkward. But once you have ground loosened, this allows you to clean out the bottom of a hole a lot easier. Now the difference between a spade and a shovel has lift, and a spade is a straight line meant for digging, and a shovel is meant for a cross between digging and transferring or moving material. So this is the straight function. And while we're in this position, this is an excellent opportunity. You can see the blade has a curve to it, both this way. It'll be hard to see on camera, but it curves, it bowls this way and this way. So it's just a little more efficient or conducive to holding material, loose material. Right, it's going to hold it more like a spoon. So in this straight position is where you can I guess get more penetration and depth Right, so you can see now we have a lot of loose material. Now, I can transfer it out pretty easily, like this. But moving to that previous position, with that like 135-degree angle, it doesn't, on camera it might not transmit, but this just feels a little more ergonomic to clean out all the loose material. And then we'll go back to kind of my favorite position, which is the pick, or the
hoe.
Yeah, the hoe. And this time I'll use it one-handed. And again, we're in a pine forest. The ground is moderately soft, so depending on where you live, it will behave differently. Okay, so now I'll just use it right-handed. Right? And one thing I'm noticing is as I'm using it, this sometimes untwists, and there's an end cap here, which I'll show you in a second. That gets a little bit loose. And then I'll use it left-handed. Maybe you're out camping and you somehow cut yourself or injured your primary hand. So it's not as easy left-handed. But it still works. Now, real quick, I want to address a common, not complaint, mistake a lot of people make with this type of tool. So as you can see throughout the video, I've been kneeling, which many people think a short handle shovel is a disadvantage, but you pretty much just position your body to maximize that length. Vixen, lay down.
Sorry.
Okay, so throughout this video I've been kneeling, and a common problem a lot of people see with this type of entrenching tool or shovel is the short overall length. And many people find that to be a disadvantage. But the thing is, with most tools, if you position your body in such a way to maximize that length. Now, if I was kneeling and I had a standard 5-foot long, 60-inch number 2 spade, it would be super long, but if I was kneeling, I'd still only be using about 2 to 2.5 feet of the length, and all of this would just be extra, and it would kind of get in the way. So the common mistake or complaint a lot of people address with an e-tool is because it's a shovel, a lot of people think you use a shovel standing up. And you do with a traditional shovel, but with this, many people, as you can probably see how much my back and my body's moving. And see how much slower digging like this is, and how much more stress it puts on your body. Right? Some people in the military would call the entrenching tool the US issue torture device, because you'd have to dig things and there's guys tweaking their back and their knees and their core muscles because they're twisting at these weird angles. But all you have to do is kneel. Now, it's still not going to be as quick as a full-size shovel, but as I showed you, it's a lot more compact. So the last feature I want to talk about is one that maybe a lot of people misinterpret. and there is a saw hidden in the handle. And we'll test it out. I know what it's for, but maybe some people will make a mistake here. So as you can see, it's about 7 inches long, 7.5. The teeth are angled forward, so it cuts as you push. Now I have this dead red pine branch here, which we're going to use for a project, and we'll just test out how efficient it is. So as you saw, it works fairly well at cutting about 1.5 inches long limbs, and it's not all that efficient, and the kerf is really thick. Now, in my opinion, so everyone's uses are going to be different. In my opinion, a few times when I've been out camping, digging like a Dakota fire hole, you're digging kind of a small hole, kind of deep, and it's beneficial to build it next to the base of a tree, and then that way the smoke travels up the tree. But the closer you are to trees, the more roots you're going to run into. And one time in the past, I was digging with a stick, and I was running into a lot of roots, and the only tool we had was a folding saw. So I was using that to snag the roots and cut them. And I think what you could use this for is, as you're digging, if you're running into a lot of tree roots, you could use this to cut through them instead of trying to cut them with a shovel. The other thing this could be used for is in like Arctic conditions. I've never done it personally, but I've seen people, to make like igloos and kind of snow shelters, depending on the snow condition, you can actually cut blocks to like build an igloo. So you could maybe use this to cut through hard packed snow. Okay guys, so that just about wraps up this review. I just real quick want to talk about the pros and cons. The pro would be the weight, 24 ounces. Another pro is the polymer handle, and a lot of people will think that that'll be a durability, it'll break easily. Keep in mind, a shovel is not really supposed to be a pry tool or a pry bar, and doing just routine digging in a camping or hiking setting, which I'm doing right now, you're not going to be using this to pry with. And even full-size shovels, when you use them as pry bars, they break quite often. So the handle material, I actually think of it as a pro. Okay, so a lot of people might consider a metal handle option to be a lot more durable. I would actually disagree. The more metal you have, the more places for rust to form. And like I said, it's kind of chilly today, and I'm not wearing gloves, and it's not transmitting. If you've ever used metal tools when it's really cold, it makes your hands really cold really quick, and I'm sure there's a scientific reason for that. But this plastic doesn't feel warm to the touch, but it doesn't feel cold like metal would. So it's lightweight, it's really compact, it has the built-in saw. It has a 3-position, so it has the 90, the 180, and like the 135. It has the curvature in the blade. And the other thing I like is the lock mechanism, which we didn't talk about that much, but you can see how little threads are exposed. And standard e-tools, you have all those threads and it's twisty, 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 open and closed and moving. With this, it's, let's see if you might not be able to hear it on camera, but you'll hear a click sometimes, and then you twist it back. And then that, I didn't cover this, but this slot here, the saw blade can act as a screwdriver. If this gets really tight, maybe water freezes in there, or from so much digging it gets really tight, you can use that saw blade to loosen or tighten it. So I like the simplicity of the lock mechanism. I like that it's made by GIock. I think that's kind of cool. I believe it's made in Austria because it says GIock Austria, so at least it's not you know, Chinese made. The price, I like the price. It's a high value tool, and I'll leave a link to Amazon. I was going to cover the cons of this shovel, but within its design application, I don't really see that many cons. If you want to hear a con, I guess it would be this end cap sometimes untwists, but the thing I like is that end cap is more comfortable, I guess, on the palm of your hand. So it's a pro and a con, but besides that, I don't really see any cons. So like always, you can go back to my homepage, watch my current reviews. If you like what you see, feel free to subscribe. And I bought, along with this, I bought about 4 other small compact folding shovels to compare. So I'm going to review them all separately and then do a comparison test of them all.